I went to the Naval Academy, and a number of my classmates ended up becoming Navy SEALs. And one of them is a very close friend of mine. He ended up being his bud's basic underwater demolition school honor graduate. But he told me about this situation where squad he was responsible for was asked to clean the leadership's office. And he said that this was something, because of how many of them there were, that would probably have taken maybe a half an hour max, but they had given them 4 or 5 hours to do it. And they walk into the office, and on the table is a book that says the syllabus of Hell Week. And Chris tells me that he sees it and he understands there's got to be some type of trap to this. So he's encouraging everyone to just stay away from it. Well, two of his guys make the decision that not only do they want to read it, but they're going to copy it because they've got a couple hours. So they copy the whole thing that night before the start of Hell Week. They stay up all night studying it, understand now the difficulties that they're going to face over the next week, and quit before Hell Week even starts. And I think that goes a lot to what you were just saying.
That's perfect. I mean, first of all, the guys who get into Hell Week are all quite smart enough to know the name of it is Hell Week. Now, heaven and hell, that's a whole other different discussion. But when I was a little boy and I really, really thought that hell might be a completely real thing, like, real thing, not just as a metaphor, right? It sounded pretty terrible. It sounded pretty terrible. I like when guys go, yeah, if I didn't go into pro golf or pro football, I would have been a SEAL. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Like, there's a practice in 100-degree heat with full pads, and then there's Hell Week. Are you sure about that? So what's interesting about even that is, how do we create like a special operator? So when I'm thinking about golf, my guys are technically the Navy SEALs of golf, right? They're the best of the best. And then I look at how the SEALs build these guys, and knowing that they're putting millions of dollars into each individual, there's no guessing. There's no guessing. They've had the best neuroscientists. They've had the best of the best say, I think if you do it like this, you'll really be able to see who can stick around and who can't. And so it brings you to another point. Like, why is passion so important? Like, why is love for what you're doing so important? Is because if you don't have that, then how are you going to withstand everything that you have to endure? That to me is really what Hell Week is. They take 100 incredibly amazing, brilliant, athletic men, in the past also women, and they put them through something that's so brutal that at the end they call 7 or 8 of them special. And it wasn't because of how happy they could be. It wasn't because of how positive they were being. It was because of how much pain they could endure, but realizing that they might be the key to when pain goes into suffering. So I think pain I can handle, suffering is I can't. So when you look at, and obviously you don't look at it because it's really hard to learn about these guys and what they do, and I understand why. But every time I get a chance to meet somebody from Delta, or when I'm in the UK, SAS, I turn into Barbara Walters because I'm fascinated. Now, I'm a peace-loving man, but I have a tremendous amount of admiration and respect for how they're masters of what they do. I'm very interested in people who have become, overachievers in anything they do. How did they do it? How did they get there? And you just keep coming back to the first chapter of Man's Search for Meaning by Frankl. And it's like, if you can't define your purpose, then you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And so I think if you have purpose and you have meaning, that's kind of the gasoline to your car. So it doesn't mean the road you're driving on is going to be that easy, or you might be in traffic, or you might have a bad tire, but you at least have the foundation and the fundamentals for the road that you're on. And so I don't think, being like, when I listen to the self-help world, it's very cavalier and naive, and it's adolescent that, you just need to be happy. And it's like, all right, well, someone studied happiness for a long time at Harvard and said that they basically have seen that the people that they tested, it's not like pure data that you might have looked at, right? Because it's dealing with humans, is they found purpose in their job, they were married to their best friend, and they had 3 deep, meaningful relationships, and they exercised. So, see, the happiness is for free. So physiologically, if I give myself enough sunlight, if I give myself 30 minutes of, I don't have to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. If I go for a 30-minute walk, if I can tend to get into cold water 3 times a week, if I make sure that I have electrolytes in my water, the potential of me over a month having way higher mental health goes resoundingly up. because I need physiology is one of the keys to psychology. So if I'm just sitting in a city all the time, I never see the sunlight, I never touch the ground with my feet. It's not that a city is busy that people are walking around looking kind of annoyed. It's because they're not getting any of the cellular information that they need from this outside world, because we are completely interconnected to the whole thing. And so just, when you look at what Harvard said, that's it. But people, when they're like, I have players, right? And sometimes they'll have like a sports psychologist, and the sports psychologist will say this person needs to be patient. They need to have self-belief and they need to be positive. And I'm like, have you met any successful people yet? Like ever in your life? Because those things to me are all consequences. And that's the problem, is it's very easy to see the consequence in cause and consequence. And so I've never met many people who are great at what they do who don't get impatient when they can't solve a problem. Right? So self-esteem comes from solving problems. It doesn't come from not having any. So I would rather my player be competent in his skill set than confident in skills that he doesn't have. You know what I mean? So it's just, I'm sorry, but it's like, being positive and happy would not help Viktor Frankl for 1 second. The image of seeing his wife and family again was the only thing that kept him, who could live through that, who could survive through that. It just had to be, your life had to be for a way bigger purpose than your bank account or your Instagram followers. It would have to be for something so much more than that. And so I think that's kind of, I think within golf, that's what I found as a young kid. Like early on, I had a passion for it. I enjoyed just how difficult it was and how it seemed like this endless journey. It just seemed very like a microcosm for life in many ways, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, we can have a team, but it still comes down to your own individual component. Life is definitely not a team game. It's definitely an I game.